Yo, what up? Nightmare Comics 1. And y'all know I was gonna be here today. Walking Dead Season 3 just ended last night. And I've been seeing a lot of mixed things about it. A lot of people thought it was a weak episode. A lot of people thought it was an amazing episode. like I'm in the middle. But I'm gonna talk more to the people that thought it was terrible. Because I think that's too harsh. This is not a terrible episode. This was not a terrible episode by any means. But season finale, I see y'all point. I feel like a lot of people's criticisms are in the wrong place. All right, let me just run down the plot real quick. Not gonna go through the entire season. This is gonna be full of spoilers, by the way. But this is assuming that you've seen the season up to this point. Episode starts. The governor is beating up Milton in a room, and he tells him that in the same room that Andrea is locked up in. He tells Milton that you know, he was like, you better kill Andrea because you ain't gonna make it out this room if you don't. So instead of killing Andrea, like he tells him to grab these tools next to this next to the table, and in the tools it's like a knife in there. But Milton drops the tools as he's grabbing them, but there's a wrench that falls out. I mean, not a wrench, it's some pliers that falls out, and he leaves the pliers on the floor. So after that, the governor tells him to kill Andrea. You're not making it out the room. So Milton instead swings at the governor and misses. The governor stabs him twice, but doesn't stab him in the head. And he was like, see, now you're gonna turn, and after you turn, you're gonna rip her apart, like you're gonna kill her, whatever. Cause he's slowly descending into madness. So then after that, we see the group at the prison. They're getting ready for the governor's guys to attack or whatever. Michonne and Rick talk to each other. Michonne thanks Rick for saving her while she was outside the gate with the baby formula. Like I said, I'm assuming y'all seen the season up to this point. And Rick was like, I could have. He said, well, you would have. He said you had the baby formula, and then she was like, well, you could have just took the formula. Rick is still a genuine person, and they're starting to see that. It's a few moments here and now. I'm not gonna really delve too much into them, but the governor's guys finally attack the prison, and when they get there, it appears that no one is there. And then a smoke bomb goes off, and a bunch of walkers come out from this corridor, and then everybody runs because they see a bunch of smoke bombs and they see walkers, and when they make it outside, it's Glenn and Maggie shooting them from a rooftop. I mean, not from a rooftop, from one of those hallways. And they're yelling at them like, "Hey, get out of here!" and shooting at them and shit like that. I think they're shooting not to hit them. You can kind of tell, just trying to scare him off. You know what I mean? And then Carl, Herschel, and Herschel's daughter, I forget her name, because she really doesn't matter that much if you read the books. And I'm gonna talk about that too. Um, they're hiding, watching all this happen. And while the Woodbury soldiers are running away, one of them is strayed from the group, and he runs into Carl and Herschel. And he's trying to surrender. He's trying to give Carl his gun, and Carl shoots him. Just shoots him, like guns him down in cold blood while he's trying to hand over his gun. So you kind of see Carl, kind of the surroundings are changing him. Let's just put it like that. And after that happens, after all the Woodbury soldiers run away, Rick talks to the rest of his group. He's like, they all say, hey, we need to attack the governor, finish this tonight. And Maggie's like, nah, last time we did that, we barely made it out of Woodbury and all this stuff. And then Rick, Michonne, and Daryl, they all like, like, hey, yeah, we'll just go, the three of us. And Rick was like, yeah, well, let's just go check on everybody else first. And then Carl tells Rick that he had to shoot one. And then Herschel was like, Herschel tells Rick, like, no, he didn't. The boy was trying to give up his gun. He shot him, he gunned him down in cold blood. Rick at first was in denial, but I think Herschel got through to him and was like, hey, your son just killed that boy for no reason. Okay, now cut to the Woodbury soldiers. Well, cut to Andrea. Andrea's still tied to his chair. Milton's bleeding out. And, he tells her there's some pliers on the floor. Pick them up, free yourself, and then, get out of here and find something sharp and stab me in the head before I turn. And then she's trying to convince herself that oh, he's gonna be okay. It's fine. Like he's gonna live through this, even though he's like bleeding the fuck out. And then then Milton, he passes out for a second. Then he wakes back up, and he asks Andrea. He was like, after you find your friends at the prison, what made you want to come back here? And then she was like, I don't know. I just wanted to save everybody. I didn't want anyone to die. Which is, I'll get to that. And then she was like, I had a chance to kill the governor. And then Milton was like, why didn't you? She was like, because I was seriously trying to save everyone, including him at first. So yeah. And then let's cut to the governor and his Woodbury troops. They're running away from the prison. They're driving away, and they all stop. And then when they get out the cars or whatever, everyone was like, that was a massacre. They want that prison, they can just have it, and all this stuff. And then like some of the governor's men were like, well, we should have took care of that ourselves. Forget them. Forget the. And everyone's arguing, and all of a sudden the governor just snaps and kills all his people. Like kills all his people except the two dudes, the Spanish guy and the black dude you see a bunch. Killed all his people, all his people, and then they get in their car and then they drive off. We don't know where, they just drive off. But one of his people actually survived. I'm gonna get back to that. Now, before the governor and his soldiers left Woodbury, Tyrese and I forget the girl's name because she's kind of irrelevant too. But Tyrese and that girl, they they what happened? They told the governor, "Hey, we not going to the prison with you. We'll shoot down walkers, but we ain't killing people." You know what I mean? And he's like, we'll stay here and guard the children and the elderly. And the governor at first he pulls out this gun and he's like, fine, whatever. And then they've been talking to each other. It was like, what do you think gonna happen when he gets back here? We all gonna die. You know what I mean? Like he gonna kill both of us. And then Tyrese was like, we might just have to slip out of here. Okay, now back to Woodbury. Okay, now back to Rick and the group. Rick and the group, they go to Woodbury. Well, they find on the way to Woodbury, they find the lady that survived in the Woodbury group, and then they save her, and then they finally head back to Woodbury. Now, as on the way back to Woodbury, hold on. They find her and they save her. I'm all over the place. This doesn't happen the way I'm describing it. Is not how it happened. It's not like in order. Cause I've only seen the episode one time, but this is all the major plot points, but just not in order. I mean, y'all see. And then back to Andrea in the room. This is important. Back to Andrea in the room. Andrea, she sees that Milton passes out again, but this time he's like dead. And then she finally sees that he's turned. So as he's getting up, she finally gets the pliers. And as she's getting up, she's trying to get free. Like she's trying to free herself with these pliers from the handcuffs and all that shit. Then she frees herself. But then Milton is already up and like in her face. And then like you see the governor's gun on the floor. Or is it a gun? No, my bad. No. Milton gets up and she frees herself. And then the door, like you can't, like they cut outside of the room, so you can't see what actually happens when Milton gets up. It's actually pretty cool because and then they went to commercial right after that, so you don't know what happened. It was actually pretty cool how they shot that. Okay. Then Rick and the group get to Woodbury, and when they get to Woodbury, Tyrese is shooting at them, and then they see the chick. The chick calls out to Tyrese and them, like cause she came back to Woodbury with Rick and the group, and she's like, yeah, the governor he killed everybody, he just massacred everyone, I'm the only one left. And then Rick was like, we're coming out. He puts his hands up and stuff, and he's like, yeah, what she says is true, and we came back here to finish this. And he was like, well, the governor's not here. And then he explains to them that Andrea actually left Woodbury, and then Rick tells him, well, she never made it back to the prison, and we think she might be in here. And he goes to where they found Glenn and Maggie at the first time, that little torture room. And lo and behold, they find the door. There's a bunch of blood on the floor, and we don't know what happened behind this door. So they open the door slowly, and they see Milton land on the ground, and then sitting in the corner is Andrea, and that's when we find out Andrea had been Andrea had been bitten by Milton. And if you get bite, you die. And so she tells everybody goodbye, and it's actually a pretty well, I'll get to it. She tells everyone goodbye. And she asked, hey, just give me this gun so I can do it myself. And Michonne's like, all teared up and stuff because they survived like 8 months just them two by themselves. And Michonne's like, she's tearing up and stuff like that. And she's like, I need to do this first. I need to do this while I can do this. So I won't come back and kill anyone else. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, she just wanted everyone to live, which is very contradictory, and I'll tell you why. But so she shoots herself, and then they cut back to the prison, and then you see no. Before Rick leaves, before Rick and the gang go to Woodbury. He talks to Carl. Carl, explains it. Well, yeah, I did. I couldn't take that chance. And, we got to kill them before they kill us and shit like that. Whatever. Fine, whatever. But yeah, they cut back to the prison, and then as you see the prison, you see this bus come to the prison, and turns out it's Rick and like all the Woodbury survivors, and he tells everybody, hey, they're joining us and all this stuff, because the governor never came back to Woodbury. He lost Woodbury. Okay. Anyway, but yeah, hey, they're all joining our group. Carl's all upset. He's like, what is this? We can't trust these people. He just gets up and walks away, and then that's how it ends. That's how it ends. Now, as a season finale, I get people's complaints. Okay, Glenn Mazzara is a weird dude. Let me explain why. This episode was actually totally logical. His approach to this show, which is a lot of people's problem with it. My boy C-Dude9590 said it best. He was like, I stopped watching this because he was so obsessed with doing things for shock factor instead of doing things that's logical. And this actually made a lot of sense. It's just that when you draw in an audience, writing the show a certain way, the way he had been writing it, which I'm not gonna lie, this show was far from perfect, but it was always entertaining. You know what I mean? And they've been writing this show a certain way the entire show. You know what I mean? So everybody kind of expected, hey, this character's gonna die, this character's gonna die, you know what I mean? Everybody kind of expected, oh my god, I can't believe this character was killed. And they didn't do that. They didn't do any of that. The only person. There's only two important people that actually died in this finale, and that's Milton and Andrea. That is it. Everybody else, they pretty much lived. That was important, and people didn't like that. That's what I'm assuming, because in terms of the story, the plot actually made sense. Like, Carl seeing all this shit happening to people he cares about. What happened to Merle? The episode before. Yeah, Merle died the episode before. I'm assuming, like I said, y'all saw this, but after seeing what happened to Merle and, all this stuff, it kind of drove him over the edge. It kind of got to the point, we can't trust these Woodbury people, so they're going to die if I see them. You know what I mean? And I don't blame Carl for doing that at all. I don't at all. Not even a little bit. You know what I mean? Because it makes sense. The whole end, now, what I will say is that came off a little forced. They didn't even, lead into that. It just kind of happened. You know what I mean? It just, all of a sudden, Carl just got drove over the edge and started shooting people. You know what I mean? Now, they didn't even, tease that or anything like that. They always teased him wanting to do more to help, but, him just, killing the dude, that was, it just seemed like it jumped the shark a little too quick with that. Alright, y'all, had to give me something to drink and answer the phone real quick, but last thing I was talking about was Carl. Yeah, it just seemed quick and forced. And they didn't really lead into it. He just kind of shot dude. It was just weird. Because earlier in the season, he helped Tyrese and them, and he didn't even know him. So think about it. Michonne too. But whatever. Let's see. The Andrea thing. This is, I think, is the reason why this episode didn't work. Because throughout all 3 seasons, Andrea had been so poorly written. She had been, she wasn't a sympathetic character anymore because she had ways to get herself out of her bad situations, yet she willingly chose to stay in her horrible situations. A good example, after she found out everything about the governor, she still went back to Woodbury. She just came off as kind of whiny and complaining the entire show. So when she died, it was more so because that moment was designed for you to feel bad, for you to feel sad, for it to be emotionally resonating. But I think most people's reaction when she died was, oh, the bitch is dead, yay, you know what I'm saying? So it was kind of like the Lori thing, to where they did Lori's death, but Lori had been so horribly written all year that, well, I mean, since the show started, that when she died, it was more, oh, Lori's not gonna be in the show anymore, yay, instead of, oh, Rick lost his wife, I feel like the only characters that have been written well, pretty much since they've been introduced, the entire series to me, are Rick. This is my opinion. Are Rick and Daryl. That's about it. Like Carl. Even like I just feel like the weakness of this show is the characters, because this was a character-driven episode, and I just feel like it didn't work because the characters have been so poorly written. And and it's kind of unfortunate because I felt like the episode made a lot of sense. I felt like I think people were just more so upset that the prison arc ain't over. I really believe that. And I think they're upset that they didn't kill the governor, but I think they're saving that to where for where they end the show, because I heard season 4 is the last season. Somebody confirmed that for me. I could be wrong, but if that's the case, then expect him to die then. Expect that then. It was just kind of a game changer. Instead of the prison arc ending, Woodbury's lost. Woodbury doesn't exist anymore. All the people that were there left, and the governor left his city. Or he left his town. I just thought that made more sense. I thought that these people were living with someone they didn't know that was a bad person. Now they're living with good people. Hope, civilization. I thought it worked. I thought and even as a season finale, I didn't think it was that terrible. But I see people's point. Because the show took a totally different direction than what you're used to. I liked the episode. Maybe I'm weird. I thought it was fine. I thought that each character took their next logical step. I forgot about the governor too. I have like how he's been written, but he's been totally different from the books. In the books, he's more just a psychopath, which he ended up being by the end of this episode, which made a lot of sense because the entire season he's just been trying to do whatever it took, whether he had to manipulate a lot of people to keep his people alive. And and that's what it seemed like. It seemed like he genuinely wanted to be the governor of this town. This town full of people. I think he genuinely wanted to be the leader of this town full of people. For as fucked up as everything he did, it really seemed that way. And then by the end of the season, they got to the point where, they're just getting on my nerves. They're more trouble than what they're worth. Kill them all. Because gradually, as you saw, after Michonne killed his Walker daughter and all that stuff, you gradually saw him change into just pure, unadulterated madness. That's what he is now. I thought it made sense. I thought this entire episode made sense. I think people didn't want that to be that way. I thought the only thing that did not was the Carl thing. I thought the Carl thing just came off force. I even thought the way Andrea's character arc ended was fine. Because this season, like we're just talking about this season, what she was saying at the end made a whole lot of sense. How she just didn't want to kill anybody. She didn't want anyone to die. If we're talking about just this season, then I get that. We're talking about the entire time she's been on the show, it makes no sense. Makes zero sense. But because she was trying to kill herself. I'm just saying the way her character arc ended this season was fine. It's just the ride to get there was, it made you hate Andrea. But the way it ended made sense. Like, it just didn't, like, this season just kind of didn't end with a bang, but it ended with kind of like a punch. It was a game. Like, people cannot tell me this was not a game changer. Because if you don't, you just don't understand writing. Because the people that lived in Woodbury isn't there anymore. The governor doesn't have a town. The people that were there ended up in the prison. Things did change. The game did change. I don't think it was perfect. This show's never been perfect. I just thought it's always been enjoyable. That's why I stay with it. And plus, I'm a fan of the source material, so I think it's just kind of cool to see. And a lot of people in the comics don't agree with this, but they kiss my ass. I think it's kind of cool to see things that we saw unfold in the books unfold differently. And I think that's kind of clever. The way they've done some things kind of bothered me, but the way they've done some things, yeah. One thing that has bothered me, and it happened this season, was they killed Dale season 2, and this is what I hate about Glenn Mazzara. He killed Dale just to shock people, like for no other reason besides shocking people. Yet they killed Dale in season 2. Yet they give Herschel Dale's story arc with the leg. You know what I mean? Like they give Herschel's Dale exact same story arc in the book that he had with his leg being cut off. I hated that. Absolutely hated that. Like, why didn't you just keep that? Like, you just did that just to be like, hey, people that read the books, hey, but you didn't expect that. Like, no, like you know, it has to make sense. If you're gonna do it, it has to make sense. Kind of like the Shane thing. Shane living after season 1, after they left the camp, made sense because of the way things unfolded in season 2. And I thought season 2 was kind of up and down too, but I thought it had a solid beginning, amazing middle, and an incredible ending. You know what I mean? I thought the season 2 finale was, oh my god, great. You know what I mean? That's just me. I thought it was the second or third best episode of the entire series. I love that episode. You know, all the way, the Michonne thing made me just go nuts. Everything about it, I thought that was damn near perfect. But like, you know, and this one, you know, I just thought it was a very good episode. That's just me. I could be wrong, man. I don't know. I'm trying to think of other stuff that people have been complaining about. Yeah, I can't really think of anything else right now. But you know, just leave some comments, man. Let's discuss this, cause yeah, I didn't see what everyone was complaining about. You know, like people were thinking. I guess people just thought all these people were gonna die, and you know, I know y'all wanted this giant. And I get this too, because it kind of been leading up to it, but that's gonna happen in season 4. And I think this show would really benefit from having shorter seasons. Like this season was 16 episodes, I believe. Yeah, 16 episodes. This series would really benefit from just having like 12 to 13, you know, even 10 to be quite honest with you. Like, you know, because all this stuff has been kind of dragged out. You know, it's like a lot of filler episodes, and I think that, you know, if everything was tighter, it would come off better. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's just me. But y'all leave y'all comments. If I think anything else, I'll interact with y'all in the comments. Possibly make another video. I did see the Game of Thrones premiere last night. Quickly about that. I thought that was a really good episode. You know, it kind of served its purpose because that was a year ago, and I forgot damn near everything that happened. And like during this exposition and dialogue, it kind of left like, you know, little hints about what happened last season and stuff. I was like, okay, yeah, I remember that. I remember that too. I mean, it was good. It was good for that, you know. So I was fine. I was totally fine with that. But you know, I don't have HBO, so you know, I had to watch it by other means. But it's gonna suck next week, man. You know, no Walking Dead. You know. Game of Thrones is gonna be on, so woe is me. I have to watch Mad Men instead. Oh, I'm so sad about that. Check the sarcasm in my voice. I love that show. Mad Men is incredible. I probably, you know what? I'll probably review that when the season's over. Season 6 of Mad Men. I love that show. You know, I think I'll do that on this channel too. What do y'all think about that? Like reviewing like different TV shows, like the seasons and shit like that. Like, you know, I just finished the miniseries Jekyll, the BBC series Jekyll. If y'all never seen that, it's by the same guy that writes Sherlock. And if y'all don't know, Sherlock is a modern day version of Sherlock Holmes, different stories and shit like that. And Jekyll is like the modern day version of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I may review that. I don't know. What do y'all think? Y'all leave y'all little comments in the video. I might actually do that because I went to final round. Like this past weekend, incredible event. Y'all know final rounds is a fighting game tournament, and after each day was over, me and a few of my buddies, we just sat and watched Jekyll. You know what I mean? Because we couldn't sleep, and I didn't want to go party, and I had no money. But you know, so we just sat and watched that. We watched 3 episodes a night. So you know, I could talk about that if y'all like me to. You know. I'm still gonna review comics. You know, I just don't make that many videos anymore, just cause, you know, I just don't be feeling like it. YouTube is like a barren wasteland now. Still read comics. I'm so behind now. I'm like 2 weeks behind on different books I'm supposed to be reading. I got a bunch, just hadn't read them. But you know, y'all just let me know, man. That, you know, this is you guys' channel. But I'll holler at y'all later. As I said, I thought this episode was fine. I kind of don't understand why people were calling it bad. I saw it as a season finale. I get you guys' point, but you have to look at what they're doing. You know what I mean? And I guess season 4 will be where y'all will get the governor's death and all those big, explosive things y'all want. But as an episode and as an actual story, the actual storyline changer, like this changed the whole dynamic of the story. You know what I mean? It was fine. It was totally fine. I don't understand the complaints. It was fine. Peace.